I have a whole lot better control. I have better line of sight. I have a better camera. Just really in every way, better. Hello, drone racers. Today we're going to look at the KingKong 90GT. This is one of the new super popular brushless mini quads. The thing is tiny, so we may be able to fly it around inside the house. We'll see if it's as terrifying as the last one that we tried. Hopefully it responds a little better in that case. But the popularity of this thing has been humongous. So Gearbest was kind enough to send this to us to go ahead and do a review, so I want to thank them for that. We're going to pop it out of the awesome little box that it came in. Just this nice little plastic box that hopefully works as a carrying case. I'm not sure how well it will work since this is made to fit here, but that definitely won't work with the props and the prop guards. Hopefully it'll still fit once we do that, but we'll see. So here it is. It's just a piece of carbon fiber frame with all the components wedged in with just a couple of layers. Cameras built in. Okay, so one of the things I noticed right away that I really appreciate is the camera lens looks to be adjustable for focus. I have had some problems with a couple cameras recently coming really out of focus. So if I can actually adjust the focus on this, that already wins me over a lot. Now, I don't think I care for the fact that it looks like it is just a flat horizontal with no angle on the lens at all. So at speed, seems like that'll be a problem. It's going to be pointed at the ground all the time. We'll see if there's some way to adjust that, but it sure doesn't look like it. But it is really small. I'm going to compare it here. It is bigger than an Eachine 11, for example, but man, it's not much. Not much. That will still be just fine inside. So it's actually smaller than I expected. It's a really good size. I think it's going to be nice. So in the box, we've got several other pieces here. We've got the foam that it came on and other box components. It's FPV Racer. It sure is. So it's typical USB. So this does have several ports on it. It has USB. This is supposed to have a F3 flight controller board. Several extra connections. The model I got came with a FrSky receiver built in. It looks like that goes right where the battery is. We'll have to see how that's going to work. But we have several connections here for additional ports. So it comes with a USB cable, just in case you don't have one. Oh, we have prop guards, where I will put the prop guards on this because I plan on trying it inside. And then it'll fly better without the weight, but I'm thinking this might be a good one with a 2S for my son to fly around. So hopefully it makes that a little more durable. We have a connector with serial connections. This might be for a receiver connection. Mine came with a receiver, although there's an awful lot of channels there. Maybe, I don't know, hopefully the manual says. Other box, we have props, so that's good. These are tri-blade props from the looks of it. And prop screws, so these screw on, clear red. Rubber bands, a prop remover tool. Rubber bands, probably to hold the battery on the bottom. It looks like there's one on there already. It's kind of interesting how they've got the rubber band underneath the flight controller, or actually underneath the 4-in-1 ESC. So hopefully we don't have to replace that. The props, oh, and the battery. So we have a 2S battery with a JST lead and a balancer. One of the things I noticed right away is it actually uses the cell balancer for a connection. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's kind of nice because any of my 2Ss will have that connector on it, every one of them. But it doesn't seem like that would handle as much power, although the wires are pretty small too. I might replace this with a female JST just because I think all my batteries are going to have that. So we have several manuals. Oh, this looks like a quality control sheet test report. Yes, I trust that you tested it. And then a manual. See how the manual is on this. Uses 2mm carbon fiber. That's kind of nice. Multiple channels. So this will be important to show me what channel that I'm on, because it looks like it's color coded, not a really clear way, or we just kind of flip through until we find the right channel. You know how that goes. On the controller board, we have multiple UARTs. So I've got S-Bus. We're connected with S-Bus to my FrSky, to PPM receiver, which is probably what that other cable was. Yeah, it was. In case you have to connect to a PPM receiver or LED strip. We don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it shows where the boot pin is. So the boot button is actually right there in the front. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there, which is going to be pretty nice to get to be able to upgrade this. My plan is to fly it as is without having to upgrade the firmware. I like to see it should race right out of the box. It does show beta flight on here, everything that's needed to update, which is great for a lot of people who aren't familiar with this. I could see this being the first flyer for a lot of people. So I'm curious about this battery. It's 350 milliamps, which is a good size. It's light. Let's see exactly how light it is. So 20 grams. So that's a good light 2S battery. So it's probably pretty low C. I'm guessing 25, 30 C. Hopefully that's enough for this thing. We're not going to get many more C's out of it at that weight though, but these should be really inexpensive if we can get those. I'm sure I actually saw a link. I'll post a link below the first place I saw some batteries. I'm going to order some extras already because they were like $7 each, so it was a really good deal. The other side of the manual is in Chinese, so that won't be helping us, but it did tell me everything that I needed to know. So here we can see the receiver is a little FrSky D8 AC800. These don't have great, amazing range, so we'll see how that works out for us. Okay, so here's what I've done with the receiver. I really didn't like the battery sitting right on top of the receiver. It just didn't seem like a good plan to me. So I trimmed the foam piece that it came on and cut it around these two screw posts here, and it actually fit in this little area here. I've got the antenna sticking up here, and I'm probably going to attach it to this post. This is a plastic standoff, so hopefully I can attach it there and get a really good signal out of it. Get these extra wires out of the way. But now when the battery sits on here, it touches these screws, it doesn't make any contact with the receiver at all. So hopefully that works out. It just seems like a better plan. So we've got props out. We have 4 props, so we have of each type. So we have spares there and the screws to put them on. We do have the prop guards. For the prop guards, you have to remove the screws from the bottom of the motors, and you have different screws that you put in underneath, which are longer and will hold in the motors with these on. I do want to install this, but I want to fly it first just to make sure I don't screw it up beforehand. So I want to make sure it all works as close as I can to stock out of the box, and then I'm going to add all of these on because I really like the way they connect together to go on the corners, and then they have connectors to snap together to make it what should be super strong. For the props, it's easy to tell just from the turn which one goes which way. I don't need them to be marked up for reverse or whatnot. What is hard to tell though is which side's the top. So maybe you can see there, yeah, there's the hole there that the screw goes through. There's a little plastic mold line. I'm gonna make the mold line be on the bottom. I'm pretty sure that's the bottom of it at that point. So we're gonna put that on because it doesn't really say anywhere that I can tell. Okay, I have all the props installed. I was definitely able to confirm that was the right way with the mold line on the bottom. You can just barely see there is an airfoil shape to this, and with that, has those mold holes on the bottom. So if you're having performance problems with this and you're watching this video, make sure your props are on the right way, not upside down, because that would definitely cause a problem. And we had 1 extra screw. I'm going to throw that back in the bag. I will say they also definitely labeled these things pretty nicely. Prop fixing screw. I know exactly what that is, so won't have any problem there. Next up is we're going to go ahead and bind this and try and fly it. It does say here's how in the manual how to update the firmware. Default settings on the receiver is 5th channel ARM, 6th channel mode switching, so that makes it pretty easy. Okay, I've got it finished setting up. The battery is charged. Oddly, the battery was like 80% charged when it came, but I topped it off. All I did to bind the radio, did a typical D8 setup, and I'll probably do a separate video for setting this up, is I set up I set up channel 5 for SA, which is where I set my arm on all of these little quads. I set up SE as my whole heading mode, and then set this to bind and plugged it in. And then I went off a bind and it bound it. So it's bound to this radio now, and it seems to be ready to go. I'll show you on the bench. It's a little odd. So we'll see. We're gonna see what happens. It does have telemetry, which is nice. And as soon as I arm it, I think I've got a ESC calibration problem because things are just a little off. We're going to see if it flies, but I definitely need to be super careful if you do this. I have not connected to Betaflight. We're going to do that, but I just wanted to see what it was like. It's supposed to be a bind and fly. I'm going to bind and fly it, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so we're going to do a line of sight flight first just to see. I think we should be in level mode, but we're going to arm it. Motors are spinning just a little bit. But I think once I give them some speed, they're going to even out. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, once the motors get up to speed, they seem to have a low setting problem. But once they're in the air, that flies really nice. It's really smooth. Probably easier, yeah, easier to just hover inside than the other micro brushlesses that I've tried. So let's try and give it a little, oh yeah, that's really nice. I like that a lot. Let's see if we can carefully, I don't know if I trust switching it to acro inside. Who put that switch so far away? That should be, yeah, there's horizon mode. You can tell big difference in speed. Wow, that's zippy. But it still levels out nicely. That could be nice. There's no way I'm gonna try and flip this inside. And then I'm not even gonna try acro. Nope, not without shield guards. I'm just gonna break it. But there you go. So bind and fly, it binds and flies. I wanna save some battery and try it with some goggles. There we go, I got it back on the box. Okay, so we've got the goggles on, they're recording. There's no OSD, which some of the others have had an OSD, which I found to be really nice. The camera looks good and clear though, so we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna switch back to auto level mode though. Whoa. Okay, so as a reminder, I've got no prop guards on here, so I'm gonna try and be very careful. I think it could still use a little focus with the, no, the camera's pretty good. No prop guards, no prop guards. Remember, there's no prop guards. So we're gonna be very gentle with this. But yeah, this is a good indoor flyer. Once I get the prop guards on there, I wouldn't have any problem with this. Zooming it around. Got our little stand here. It's way easier to have set up slow than it was with some of the others. So I'm going as slow as I possibly can, but I can do it, which with the Aurora I just couldn't even do. It just wasn't possible. So this thing is great inside. I will definitely consider this a serious indoor flyer, but once I get the prop guards on. We're gonna do that, but I think before I do that, I'm probably gonna fly it outside, because I want to fly it outside at its full potential, which is gonna require the lesser weight. So for now, we're not gonna risk this too much inside. We're just gonna land, and tomorrow we'll fly it outside. All right, so we've got the 90GT, GT90, something like that outside. We're gonna test it. It's a little bit windy, but it seems to have calmed down, so hopefully we can get a good flight. There's the winds picking up again. We're armed. Have not made any changes to the camera or anything yet. Whoa. There we go. We're auto mode. To acro mode. Oh, this thing's zippy. It is weird not being able to, whoa, man, that's nice. The camera, for a 25 milliwatt camera, it seems really good. Transmitter, it seems really good. The control is really good. It doesn't mind this wind at all. No problem at all. I've got plenty of power. Completely non-issue. I feel like I've got really good signal across the board. Just out of the box, I've not trimmed it in Betaflight at all, so this is just totally stock. But the controls are really good. It's fast. It's really fast. The camera angle, even though it's totally flat, doesn't seem too terrible. I'm not completely screaming it. It definitely does need some angle, so we'll do some changes with that later. I do miss the OSD on this, so I don't know how much battery I've got left. I haven't done any real tests, so we're not going to do a super long flight. But yeah, the thing that really draws me is how locked in the signal is with my goggles here. Now, it flickered just a little bit there. Stay away from the pond. Try a full-out speed run. It's quick. That's where the camera angle is really a problem. At full speed run, I can't really see where the ground is or where I'm flying. So yeah, it definitely needs some camera angle. For just poking around, it does a really good job though. Still feel like I've got plenty of power, and hopefully the audio on this recording works with the wind we've got here. Not quite gutsy enough to fly through the swing set yet. We'll stay a little lower though and see how much control we've got out of it. Yeah, that's where we need camera angle. Ooh, that was close. Woo! Alright, now we're losing power. Don't know how long this flight was. We'll check that out. Also, the grass is probably a little wet, so I don't want to risk it too much. We'll switch it back to auto level. So that wasn't air mode, I don't think. We'll find out. But yeah, there's the wind. You'll probably be able to hear the wind, but it doesn't seem to mind at all. Just a little controls. Whoa! And I have to remember it disarms with the switch and not the stick. Oops. Okay, one last test before we call this done. I've gone ahead and put in the prop guards on here just to see how they look. It did add some weight to it, but not a lot. But I do feel a lot better about flying it inside, which is what I'm going to try now. Before I do that, a couple things I want to show you real quick. I did get all the screws out, but one of them was so hard, my Allen wrench, I could barely get it out. So I actually had to grab it with pliers. So be prepared for that with tools. Also for the replacements, there are these spacers that it says in the instructions. Let's see what it says. Please cooperate with use gaskets. Avoid damage the coil of motor. I'm pretty sure what that means is these screws are just a little bit too long, and they need this spacer just to get it so the threads don't get into the coil of the motor. So I went ahead and put those on. Thinking about it afterwards, I might have mounted these onto underneath the motors, kind of as a weak soft mount. But I didn't do that, and I'm not going to take it off. I'm ready to fly. That might actually end up being a problem. The prop guard is right in the line of sight. That's kind of interesting. We'll see if that causes us any problems. Still so fast. Holy cow. Wow, slow down. Slow down. Not used to this much speed. Yeah, that is definitely, that's a problem with the prop guard. I can't see what's right in front of me. Got plenty of speed to pull out of it when we have a problem. But yeah, I'm going to say that's definitely an issue. Let's try it with our normal slow through there. Yeah, I'm going to bring this back and remove that front one and see if it makes it, it's going to make it better. Oops, oops, oops. That definitely makes it better, but I don't know if it'll make it good enough. Definitely helps. So yeah, if you put the prop guards on, yeah, that makes it doable. The sides aren't too much in the way for this. They do definitely block line of sight a little bit. Probably more than the traditional Tiny Whoops do. But man, this thing is fast. Very fast. But if you saw my what was it? Yeah, if you saw my Aurora 68 video, you'll definitely know this is far, far better. I have a whole lot better control. I have better line of sight. I have a better camera. Just really in every way, better. So is it an indoor flyer? That's still a little questionable. I don't know. It's a lot better than the Aurora 68 that I flew. It's bigger, but it's still, I still think I like the brushed ones inside better. They just aren't quite as over the top. I'm not sure I'm ready for brushless inside. Outside, I love the thing. It's great. Whether I keep the prop guards on or not, I don't know. I'll try it again a couple times, but I did manage to break a couple props. We have some spares. I'm going to be ordering spares soon or today because I like this a lot. I am going to be flying this a lot, and I could see just being my, I have 10 minutes to fly outside quad, so I grab it and I can fly it and not have any problems. These blades are really fragile. I'm sure there are some better options. If I find some before I post this, I'll go ahead and link to them. I like the mounting of the receiver. The signal has been really good. Overall, this is my favorite micro brushless at the moment. The one mod I'm probably gonna do is this camera. Outside at full speed, this camera needs some angle to it. So we'll probably have a video in the future setting that out. But if you wanna see that, make sure you subscribe so you see our future videos and what else we do to this, because I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of this in the future. It's just really, really nice. I want to do some additional tests and try some batteries and try some range tests, but make sure you subscribe so you can see all those. If you found this video useful, be sure to like and comment down below. Let me know if you have any suggestions for this. This ends up being a really good size. I really like the size of it a lot. I think I'm gonna like these guards. I think they're still, even without that centerpiece on here, definitely don't want that. It's still a really good level of protection, so I'll be a lot more brave with it. Probably take them off eventually, but I do like them on there. So that's gonna be it. We'll see you next time, and until then, keep racing.